coming today?
I don't know. I said to the well, to everyone, they're not mandatory, and they're only social affairs anyway. So if people have things going on, lives or other stuff to do, then fair enough. And if nothing else, mate, we can chat and shoot the breeze. We can go through some of your comments that you made. We can have a look at that. We can talk Toki Pona if you want. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things. As a social affair, it's like a restaurant meeting
Yeah,
or a bar or something. People will turn up when they want, leave when they want. That's up to them.
definitely. So
Really?
did you learn Tokipona?
I haven't learnt it all yet. No. I spent this week gaining as many resources as I could because this week's been quite a big week in terms of my schedule. So I found apps, I found flashcards, I found audio. I've found a pool of YouTube videos that I've gone through. I've got the basics for it. I know how it's formulated and how to structure sentences and such, but I haven't sat down to formally learn any of the words yet because I want to make sure that um, with it being a challenge, like cards on the table, I have no interest in learning Tokipana. No, it's not gonna assist my life at all, as far as I'm aware.
Mm,
As far as I'm aware. Um, So it was about finding the right habits that I could develop, that I could lean into, because I'm teaching myself 7 languages that do help, that do assist, that do things for me. Um, so to slide in the extra one into that finely tuned pattern, that finely tuned way of doing things, I wanted to make sure that I had that down first, because after all that's down, then I can just go at it. I can just go at it, and I've written a YouTube video around it as well. So I figured I could maximize the whole process, and
nice.
yeah, yeah. So I mean it seems fairly easy.
Hmm.
Um, and from the few words of Tokipona that I've looked at, it seems like it would rely heavily on word substitutions because there's very few corollaries, and there's very few English present ideas that are in there. So Lex, knock it off, mate. Dog's just whining at me. Um, so I mean, in terms of profiling your day to see when and where and how and these things can be supported, I'm trying to profile the challenge to
Yeah.
see what would be best in just going for it. um, Whether it works or not, who knows? Right, who knows? It's one of those things. What about you? Have you looked at it?
Yeah, I didn't look at the words or the language, but I did some research, and some people say that it's gonna be very common language in the future.
Mm. Mm. Well, if it is, me and you, we're covered.
Yeah.
Right, we're covered. It's I mean it's one of the rules for a reason, and it's one of the rules that it was my intent that people adopt the leaning into resistance moments as a way to build resilience, as a way to build a strength in the face, mental strength in the
Hmm.
face of a challenge. Because when you're out there working and information pops up and you know uh, you don't necessarily know what or who or how to do with it, to have the control over this to react accordingly is going to be the most appropriate way forward. You know,
Hmm.
it's it's why the whole school was Julie's here.
Uh-oh.
It's why it's why the whole school itself is devoted to specifically memory and logic. They're
Yeah.
two very ambiguous names. Hey, Julie. They're two very ambiguous names, but they are um, umbrella terms for everything else that sits underneath it. Because when you think about it, all skill, all, is nothing if you can't remember it. And all skill is nothing if you can't reason with it, if you can't use it in the most appropriate manner. So, those two ideas coming together, not only does logic feed memory and memory feed logic, but they also support everything. So if you're essentially looking to, this is going to sound like a sales pitch, but it's not. If you're essentially looking to um, refine and develop cognitive capabilities, those two areas will pretty much solve most of your problems. Um, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, like I
Hey
said,
Julie, how
it's
are
why.
you? Sorry, mate.
Ça va,
Go.
ça va, ça va.
Ça va.
Ça va, ça va.
Oui. Quand on dit ça va, ça va, ça va, ça va, it means it's kind of it could be better.
It could be better.
Yeah, English. Yeah.
When you repeat
uh,
ça va many times, could
Ça
be
va,
ça
ça
yeah.
va.
va, ça va, ça va. It could be saying yeah, I'm okay.
Same in Turkish. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
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 That was that
Oh,
was that, that was one of the things that I've asked all of my language teachers for is equivalencies of how English people talk. And like one of our kind of national phrases is how are you? I'm not too bad, all things considered. It's kind of predicated on the notion that things could have been a lot worse.
yeah.
So that was one of my French coach. His name was Fred. It was Fred and his wife Panchika, and that was one of the things they told me very early on. If you're looking to kind of do, just repeat "ça va" a lot.
Ça va, ça va.
But this was the
Ça va,
French
ça va.
version. This was the French
Yeah, yeah,
version of it. There's a
yeah.
Quebec version of it too.
Of course.
Do you want to
Of
know it?
course,
Okay.
of course.
When your friends like I was talking with Pascal, I think 2 3 days ago, and I said, "Hey, what's up?" Because I knew he got sick for almost a week, so just wanted to make sure it was okay. So, and this was back when he was sick. So I said, "How are you? How are you doing?" He said, "Ça shit partout," which means it shits everywhere. It didn't mean he had diarrhea. It's an
Yeah, yeah.
expression that says shit is everywhere. So we say ça chie, cela chie de partout. You get it? So we
Okay.
say that only with two people we know. You would
Of
not
course.
say that with two people you don't know, never. But we would say, "Oh, ça va." With one shoulder up, usually you will see that. Ça va. You
Yeah.
know, it's like I don't want to tell you all my life. Let it go, ça va.
Move on, people. Move on. Um, but yeah, what were you saying before, Said? Sorry.
Yeah, like I said, that's why I hate French, you know.
Uh,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
you
Calm
talk to
down,
me
I
in,
think Julie
you
just had an error.
he speaks to me in French all the time, and he goes, "I in French." I'm like,
Yeah.
what the heck? He's good. He's good in French. Beware if you don't know Ben. I'm telling you, he's good in French. He's
Not yet.
getting
we
very
we
good.
we spoke briefly the other day via Messenger. Um, I was forewarning him about the problems that I had with Excite. uh,
Oh my God, this is a
yeah,
dangerous one.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I've told him all about it. I've told him all about it.
do you get it now when to say it and when to change the word?
Mhm.
Yeah. You guys beware with that word. It's in the category of dangerous world as calm down. But it's I can see you saying, "Oh, je suis si excitée de vous rencontrer." The girl's gonna go like, "What a creepy guy." She's gonna look, "Do you see my boobs? Am I okay?" Beware. But it's normal
Yeah,
because in English it passes very well, but in
yeah,
French it
yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
No,
So same in English. I can say stuff in
yeah.
English. You will go like, "Oh my God, did you say that?" And I don't. Mostly back then, I didn't know that. Yeah, you can't say that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's become a fun part of language learning.
It is.
It's yeah, uh, I've got my list of Dutch words that I'm going through, and one of the words that's been it just makes me laugh because I am a dork, who reads comic books. Uh, thank you. It's microwave, magnetron, as in magnetron. It sounds like a transformer. I'm like, that's
Yes.
amazing. That's
Well,
amazing.
I,
Wait,
it's brilliant. Think about it.
yeah,
Think
no.
about it. It's logic. To me,
So,
it's logic.
of course, bien sûr. So, so let's. I'm gonna put the this topic on the table.
Mhm.
Um, and it's one that connects back to the post that I made it in the group. Talk to me about your challenges, and it's
Mhm.
challenges that are primarily concerned with logic, memory, or both. Because if you've got problems in other areas, I can't help with that. I mean, we could talk about it for sure. That's what friends would do. But I I
Yeah.
I, I can't necessarily help with that. So one of the things that Pascal brought up was about playing cards. You know, he can fire back in on that. But one of the things that you mentioned, Said, was a good point that I just wanted to kind of open out a little bit
Mhm.
more. Was you put in first one could be lack of control over the methods. What I mean is every day when I go out, I use the same techniques, but some days it sticks automatically, and some days you lose the information or it never sticks. You feel slow, etc., etc., and the rest of the things that are connected. And there are logic and memory elements that are connected to that. Did you tell her? There are logic and memory elements that are connected to that either side. The logic side of it being, think of something that you do day in day out that is a simple menial task. It might be tying your shoes, it might be
Mhm.
locking or unlocking the door, might be answering the phone. These types of things. You do it in the same way, give or take.
Yeah.
day in, day out. And yet we never punish ourselves for this as human beings.
Hmm.
We're never looking for different ways to answer the phone, or different ways to tie our shoelaces, because the one we have serves. The same is said here, right? The same is said here. If it is that you're using the same memory method, whatever it is, if it serves you, that's the main point. That is totally fine. It is like a fighter's immediate reaction just to be a jab. That it's if it serves, not a problem.
Hmm.
The way that it will end up challenging its ability to serve you is on is in relation to how much information you're going through, right? So, what is your go-to method, Said? What is it?
Technique plus technique.
Okay, so there will be a moment there where the cognitive load, the amount of information, is just too much.
Hmm.
It's too much. For that, it could be whether it's too much for you, it could be whether it's too much for humans. Who cares? It's just too much at that moment.
Hmm.
That's when it serves us to have more techniques in our arsenal to bring out when when one is full, if you want to think of it that way. I know it's not technically full, but it's a thought that we bring out where we go, too much, I'm getting overloaded, overwhelmed, and we start the thoughts, the illogical process of a reaction to a stronger or heavier cognitive load. So the ideal way to battle that is, when practicing, when training, in whatever way that you're doing it, is to specifically lay out, like, this week I'm just going to focus on journeys. This week I'm just going to focus on technique lists. This week I'm just going to focus on whatever it is. And it's the crafting of habits around it. You do it long enough that the habit itself is born within you.
Hmm.
My words are spicy. The cognitive load is then spread out throughout them, right? That's one of the advantageous properties about journeys and memory palaces, is if one journey gets full, just use another. That's one of the connections to it. But then it raises questions about whether it is that it's just ideas that you have to observe, or it's specific details, or it's numbers, or it's images, or it's smells, or it's what people say, or it's what people don't say. There are that many memory methods that exist that it will connect back to what we were talking about at the start. It is possible for you to profile the information that you are likely to come into contact with. You know what you are likely to come into contact with day in, day out. So you can profile the methods accordingly to be able to work on that, right? That builds up the diversity of your reaction. Now, the other side that connects to it is it's dietary and health, right? And that's not to say that you have to be an Adonis Greek god, because you don't. You don't. One of, like, if when we, I say we, me and Adam back in the day, when we spoke to Ben Pridmore, who was a world memory champion,
Hmm.
he throughout the course of his competitions would very often go through 2 liters of Coke a day, Coca-Cola, not the powder.
What was it a
Okay.
guy? Was it a guy we saw years ago on Oprah Winfrey? You don't know.
Maybe.
It was impressive.
Ah, I don't know. I
Okay,
don't know.
I'm just asking just to put an image on him.
Of course, of
It
course.
would it would be maybe 60 today, I would say, around that.
I think Ben's younger than that.
So okay,
Um,
it's not him.
yeah, no, I think he's younger than that.
Okay.
Um, Another guy in that area might have been Dominic O'Brien. He's kind of globally famous for being a memory champion. But my point is that health and sleep affect how you think, and memory is a product of how you think. Therefore, health and sleep affect how you memorize. Now, is that to say that you have to get 8 to 10 hours of unbroken, peaceful sleep every night? No. Who does that? I can't do that. Right? It's not. Julie can't do that. So you can't. It's not happening. Right? It's not going on. But
All of us here can't, and I know this because I can talk to
right,
you at any time.
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. We are always on the go. But it is down to doing things like you are doing, say it's drinking water, eating right, moving, right. That's not to say that, oh, you have to go to the gym. You don't move. Just go for a walk,
Hmm.
right? Sitting in a chair all day, every day is not good.
Hmm.
It's not good. That's why I take a lot of sessions stood up so I can move around. Or as soon as I've got free time, I will go to the gym because there is movement being brought into my day, and where possible, I'm always resting. Right? If your memory functions like a muscle, right? Then there will come a point in the day where I'm like, ah, mon cerveau est plein, and I'll just have to sit down,
Yeah.
right, and just put nothing else in there. That's why my kind of pleasurable TV content that I consume is what I call in the house just boys action films. The shoot 'em ups, the explosions, the
Hmm.
the the no plot, no story, no thinking required, just
Yes.
color and noise, so I can just relax. And again, that's one of the things that I kind of hinted at in the 100-day memory upgrade is memory techniques, and the accompanying with logic is a way to kind of shortcut or,
Hmm.
or circumnavigate, because I'm starting to not like the word hack. Everyone uses it. Um, Circumnavigate cognitive restrictions. So therefore, you will be taking a heavier cognitive load than you were originally prepared for. So your body,
Yeah.
your brain, your mind, it needs time to recover. If it is that you don't use it, I don't know, 12 hours a day, and then one day you do use it 12 hours a day, the next day you're going to be exhausted, and that is an opportunity. Excuse me. That is an opportunity for harmful habits towards stories that will get in there. Oh, I'm just this or I'm just that. When the reality is you're just tired, right? You just need to recover, or you need to
Hmm.
refuel. Most of memory work can be boiled down to the habits that you have, right the way across the board. Habits of when to work, habits of when not to, habits of when to learn, habits of when to relax. And it's what I was talking about kind of in the podcast last night, even though that was more related towards emotions and mindset. The dial is applicable to us in memory and logic work. The belief gets compounded that we are either on or we are off. Right? When the reality is you can be paying attention all day, every day. You just might not convert all of the
Hmm.
information. You might not store it. You might not use it. You might not stick it in a journey. You might not use the technique list. Right? These are the trade-offs to develop an awareness of how the body can support the mind. Right? It sounds spiritual to say, but it's really not. there is an irrefutable connection between the two, and I'm telling you this as I'm about to eat my sandwich. Right?
Bon appetit.
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, my daughter just she's 32. She wrote to me. She was supposed to come. You would have met her. She looks exactly like me, but she can't because she's a professional accountant. So she
Oh,
does she does my taxes. So she was supposed to come and take the computer behind me, do my taxes. It's very easy to do it for her, and at least take my taxes and bring them home. She just wrote to me and she said, "Mom, she has probably amygdala, hair throat." So she said, Mom, I can come. I have an appointment at 2 p.m. with here. Well, I didn't read her before because I was on the plane mode. So she said, I can come, Mom. So can I go tomorrow? So she's waiting at the doctor's office. That's why I was like this, reading my. She one of the person who has a buzz if she writes to, or calls me. And so I went like, and she doesn't write for nothing. So I knew there was something there. So I was, "Are you okay?" So
gotcha.
yes.
Well,
So
this is I mean, perfect timing, Julie. This is one of those moments that we can go, all right, Julie has thrown random information at us about her daughter and illness and taxes and text and airplane mode and all this. We can go, all right, I can store that to use at some other date. Then you have all of the escalated cognition of going, right, do I put it in a journey? Do I create links? Do I make a drawing out of it or whatever it is? Or you could just go, I'll engage, right?
you know,
A la
uh,
Socrates.
you don't have to. It was just because I was not there anymore. I was like this, like for 2 minutes. I was
No, no,
not listening to you. I was so worried. It's my baby. So I was like, okay, what's going on? So I
of
was,
course, of
I
course.
left you guys. So the reason why I'm
No,
telling you is this is what just happened to my daughter. So I wasn't there. So I was kind of listening. You were
I get.
saying it's 1 week you do this, you practice this technique, 1 week you practice this technique and this because I'm a woman, so I can do
Yeah, yeah.
12 things at a time. So I know what you said, but I was not engaged. I was
I
engaged with
know.
my daughter.
I know. I wasn't challenging you on that at all. I was just using that as. Oh, I'm freezing. This is weird.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, there we
Must
go.
be
I was just
must be the
I was just
sandwich.
using your. It may be. Maybe. I was just using that influx of information as an illustration of like a real world example of information that you can practice with if it is that you chose to. Yeah. Um. So yeah, nice. I mean, I hope your daughter feels better soon.
Yeah, you have no idea how me too. You don't even know. She's had 4 surgeries in a year.
Oh,
Okay. That's the reason why when it buzzed, I went, yeah.
you whether she'd been in surgery before or not, if your daughter calls, you answer the phone.
It
It's
depends, but she never calls for nothing.
exactly.
So I knew there was something. I know I made her. I know her.
You do. Of course you do. So, if you forgive me during my chomping, otherwise I'm not going to get a chance to eat till about 10:30 this evening. Um, so, what we do then is you apply the logical tactic towards your day after, whatever it is. So how can now, Said,
Mhm.
knowing what you know about what you're likely to get up to on Saturday, on Sunday, and so on and so forth, how can you develop a habit, right, that will allow you to nurture these things? What is one thing you could do tomorrow that would make you focus on a different method, whatever it is? Pick that tomorrow. But what is one
Mhm.
thing that you could do that would make you connect to a different method?
Mm. Tomorrow I have a lot of online lessons, so
Right?
I can use, let's say, I can use Memory Palace for each lesson, and I can, how to say, store the information because I normally don't do that.
Not a problem, right?
Mhm.
So this is the great thing about the technique list because it works anyway, even in support. So how many different lessons? Right, you've got a lot of lessons, but how many different ones have you got tomorrow?
5.
Five, right?
Mhm.
Do you have five different memory palaces that you could use?
Yeah.
Perfect, right? Perfect. And are they big enough, long enough that they would support how long you're in the classes for?
Yes.
Perfect. Then what I would do as a matter of pre-work for it
Hmm.
is whether it be a post-it note or a drawing or whatever it is, just order the palaces. I'm going to use this one
Oh,
first. Going to use this one first, second, this one third, and right, because that isn't a note. That is a commitment to your future self,
Yeah.
I love
right?
that.
Thank you.
Hmm.
And what the reason why it particularly works for folks like us is because if you don't do it, it will annoy you. If you've written down the order and you don't follow it, you'll look at it halfway through and go, shit,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not saying that that's a good way to build habits because on paper it isn't,
Hmm.
but it is a good way to highlight the need for change. That's all. That's all we're looking to do. It's not quite aversion therapy or anything like that. We're just looking to change gears a little bit and do the pre-work as early as we can.
So I
And with
think
that,
what happened, yeah.
go on.
So I think
No,
what
no, keep
happened,
going. Give me a chance to eat my sandwich.
yeah. When we learned this technique, I
Hmm?
stopped using other methods in daily life. For example, memory palace or journey. Because, for example, yesterday I talked with my friend for 6 hours. We didn't stop. And I could remember everything just engaging. Yes, Julie, you're right. It's just a private practice session. It's about our sessions.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was talking with my friend, and he gave me a fact in the beginning. Then 2 hours
Mhm.
later, there was another one, and 2 hours later, there was another one. So after 6 hours, I just, how to say, it hit all by itself, you know. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I have a deduction, and I told him my deduction, and he said, yeah, that's right. How do you know that? And I was like, because of the things you said before, and like I could remember everything. But sometimes it's just it doesn't stick. Like
Mm.
sometimes it doesn't happen, but sometimes I can remember everything.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Same here.
let's.
Same here.
Well, as we've got an example. I mean, same here as well, right? So as we've got an example that connects us all, let's get into a bit of logic and rationale and reasoning on this, right?
Mhm.
In those moments where it doesn't stick, what are the differences that you are aware of between that one and the one where 6 hours everything goes by? Oh, it's awesome, it's all there. What are the differences between the two?
In
So
my
my
case, oh, sorry.
yeah, go Julie, go.
Either of you, go.
Go
In
ahead.
my case, when it's something urgent and I need to find either physically or in my head something urgent, you lost me.
Right. Got
So
you.
I think it's the top one.
Okay.
I need information like yesterday. Dear God, I can't find it.
Yeah.
It's the major one for me is that one.
Okay.
For me, physically, I feel like my brain is touching my skull. It's the difference for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I feel
Interesting.
like my
Okay.
brain is not full, but it's bigger
Yeah.
and it pushes me,
Like
There's a
A
tension.
like
pre-
like. Go on,
There's
Julie.
a tension.
like oppression.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
pressure.
okay.
Right. You want to know what will solve both?
Can you say that again,
Cool.
please?
Do you want to know what will solve both?
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear what you're going to tell me.
Breathing.
Okay.
Breathing. Right. In both situations, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Right. Please. In both
Yeah.
situations, what it sounds like is that they are both built on a degree of tension. Julie says, I need it now, I need it now, I need it now, which is a degree of tension. And Saeed says, I can feel my brain, it's a degree of tension. I'm either too busy, too active, whatever it is. It's a degree of tension. And I'm not saying that you stop and go, I'm not saying that you stop and do that. I'm saying what you build in is another habit that when you are aware of those types of things, you stop and you go, okay, and then what I'm doing. What that technically is, it's an interrupter to the brainwave state that you're in. The
Hmm.
brainwave state is misaligning to the scenario, going too fast, and oxygen is a way to slow that down. Now, will taking a few deep breaths bring the information back or stop you from having a headache? No,
No,
right?
okay, okay, Chris, no.
No, no,
That's
it won't.
Quebec.
But what we're looking to do is to provide an interrupter that you can capitalize on. If I was about to go full Seneca, the only way to avoid stage 3 fear is to stop and breathe, right? But it's the moment in busyness that we need to regulate our thoughts. And when I say we, I mean as human beings. Whenever anyone is tense, the tension keeps going. Beautiful. That's a great method, Julie. It's a great method. Um, the the interrupter with a relaxant of a certain degree that is naturally occurring and you can do anywhere is the easiest way to gain control and build habits to allow you to regulate whatever's going on in that moment. If it is that you just need to calm down and you go, all right, I need this piece of information. I don't know what it is, but I need it. That is the moment where you go, I will plan how I get it. Right? Or if it's your brain pushing the top of your skull, you go, okay, let's take a moment. Am I too tired? Do I need fuel? Do I just need to stop? Whatever it is, it is that moment of clarity in mental noise that allows for organization of whatever thought it is that's dominating your head at that time. Like, Julie, have you ever been in a situation where you've been asleep the night before? I know it might take a while, but you've been asleep and you've had a really weird dream, and then you've got up the next day and you've gone, maybe told your boyfriend or something. Do you know what I dreamt about last night? And then it's it's just gone, and like it's one of those things like where you try, like, I feel like I was, but I'm not too sure, and then the moment
Yes.
passes, you go about your day and you're working, you maybe I don't know, eating, writing, whatever it is that you're doing, and then it comes back. You go, oh, I remember. It's
Uh,
because
well, I have a lot. I've been dreaming since I was as almost as old as I am, and we're talking weird dreams. It's been all my life. When I was
okay.
young, for years, I was dreaming I was flying. And the sense I was flying was important. Not like this, like this. And
Wow,
I've huge vertigo since I was a baby, not
really?
while dreaming.
Okay,
So this was analyzed, and it was a sense of liberty that I had. So which
nice.
means a nice childhood in my case. But I still do dream really weird stuff.
Mm,
If I stay in my bed, my head on my pillow, don't move, Fenouil kissing me because he wants to talk, like usual,
mm,
and stay there and recount my entire dream in my head before I move, I'm fine. I will remember it forever. If I put a foot down my bed, sit down, I'm done. It's over. And rarely does it come back because I'm
mm.
going to see something outside or hear a sentence and you go, oh, I dreamt about this. Rarely. If I
Yeah.
want to remember it, I must not move in my bed once I'm awake.
Mm, mm. Well, I mean, I obviously don't know the specifics of what's connected to that, but I know a lot of people who are in similar situations, but for very different reasons. Right? Very, very different reasons with regard to crazy dreams, remembering them in certain circumstances and forgetting them in others. The key is to find an interrupter. It's an interrupter. When you speak of lethalogica, it's that feeling where something's on the tip of your tongue and you all that is, it's a habitual thinking pattern that precludes access towards data. Once you interrupt it, it is free to go off somewhere else. You might not find it straight away, but the point is you are more aware of the possibilities that could connect to it in that moment. Right? Just having that interrupter is such a wonderful thing to develop for the sake of clarity, because it's not only clarity for the information that you're trying to find or the headache that you're trying to get rid of, right? It's also a clarity of thinking in that moment, right? You get to go, am I? You'll choose different words, but you get to go, am I thinking as clearly about this as I could be, right? But
I love these dreams. 90% of them are so weird. It's like when I dream, it's like I'm going to like read an adventure book or watch the best Netflix series, but I'm not. And oftentimes I just watch my dream. I don't see myself in the dream. I see people
right,
I know, I don't know. I don't never
right,
ever see myself in the dreams. So when I wake up, I'm like, oh no, that series already over. When is part two? Okay. But some of those dreams are like they were so real that when I wake up, oh my God, it was just a dream. Thank you.
mhm,
This is 10% of it. But most of the
yeah,
times I love it. It's going to
yeah,
a journey
yeah.
well, of course, when I sleep.
Of course, yeah. And
When
those,
I
I
sleep.
think, those 3 or 4 times you've slept in your entire life.
No, it's getting better now because I'm treated for that. So yes, it's getting better.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah.
But you kind of highlight an important part of our natural ability to memorize. The techniqueless approach seeks to lean into, and it's connected towards Viktor Frankl's work. It's connected towards Socrates. It's emotion, right? We remember what we care about. That as an easy analogy, right? If it is that you are looking to memorize anything or remember anything for whatever reason, find a way to care about it. Is it? It's easier said than done, right? But that's the kind of the shoehorn that memory techniques does. It finds specific weird and wonderful ways that speak to how you think and make you care about it in a weird and wonderful way so that the information comes along with this fun and unique story. These occur naturally all the time. All the time.
There's something I forgot to mention because I just saw what Safe wrote. It's not rare that what I'm going to dream about happened in the day or the day before. Okay.
Nice.
So it's not exactly the same dream, but let's say
Mm.
I go to Walmart and there's this mom who her kids are so annoying. I could like I'm the what I mean, slap the mom,
Yeah.
not the kids. Hey,
Yeah.
raise the kids. You
Yeah.
next time close your legs. In my head I can get very mad. And
Yeah.
and then, I keep doing my stuff and that was the only element, okay? It all happened in my head, but this was the reality. And in the
Yes.
next dream, I could see her on a dragon flying in the sky with her kids, happy that she's gone. And that kind of weird dreams. I'm like, nice, nice. Somebody else gonna take care of your dreams properly. That might be me. You know what I mean? So when it says horror movies, I don't know if you watch a lot of horror movies, of if
No.
you are relating to uh, nightmares or nocturnal terrors, because
Mhm.
this is totally different.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I
It's
used to get
it's different.
Yeah.
yeah. The I used to get really bad night terrors as a child. Really bad. Um I think that's why I'm such a carefree individual as an adult. Because I saw horrors as a child. But yeah, so the the challenge is for us with whatever it is that we're looking to take with us is just to find more um, salience, more emotion, more meaning, more connectivity in whatever it is that we're doing. And if that is what drives you, which it doesn't necessarily drive me. Because I'm habitually connected towards using method and just engaging. I can
Mhm.
I've done it for that long now that the cognitive load is strong enough. It can take most with me. I I I'm aware that when I connect with anything emotively, that that affects my ability to work as an observer, as an investigator. It harms my ability to think with clarity in a moment. But if we're strictly thinking about memorizing information or getting more in there, if you can find a way for it to connect to you, like forget about it. It's no, that's going to be the wrong word. It's making a challenging thing that much easier by default and more of an enjoyable ride than slogging through whatever it is that you're doing. One of my personal favorite examples of this, and it's only like a small fictional example, but it's an example of finding emotional significance in information, was at the end of the film Road Trip. Which if you it's like a stoner comedy, where they get into all kinds of provocative situations, and there is drug taking. Anyway, there was this one character on there who is the genius of them all. He's the sky hyatrist. He's a marijuana farmer, but he's a genius. And the protagonist of the story has travelled across country to see his girlfriend for, you know, let's say adult reasons. And on the way back, he has to prepare for his philosophy exam. and the stoner guy, the stoner genius, was like, "I can teach you philosophy in 12 hours," and the guy's like, "Oh my god,
Nice.
please do it!" And so the stoner was like, "Okay, what do you like? You like wrestling, right? Professional wrestling." The guy's like, "Yeah, of course I do." And so he opens it up with, Socrates was like the Vince McMahon of philosophy. He started it all, and you're like, that's such it's such a cool in. It's
Got
so
it.
because the whole
I remember him.
the whole purpose was to take the information about philosophy, but it allowed the guy to just think about professional wrestling, which he loves. And I'm crystal clear. Beautiful example of the way these kind of emotive methods within memory work develop information because it's born out of logic. Like Socrates couldn't be, I don't know, Hulk Hogan, right? Because his position within professional wrestling doesn't correlate to Socrates' position in philosophy. So there is logic that is born into that. You can't have one without the other. So it was such a good example. Such a
Yeah.
good example. Such a weird one as well, but it was a good example. All the same, yeah. Most of memory you can put down to developing good habits with your your control of your emotion and your targeted use of logic.
If I
And
may,
again,
before we leave, because I know
yeah,
you're eating, I know it's late at night for you, and fortunately, it is just the three of us, so it's not like a ton of people. Um, uh, of course, epilepsy can play on my memory. Okay,
of
that's a
course,
fact,
of
and
course,
it's not. But fortunately, it doesn't play that much because I've been tested again and again and again, and I can assure you of something. If people think
mm,
having a high IQ will give you much more memory, I swear to God, it's not true. It's not true. It doesn't work like that. I know my IQ. I've been tested 3 times. It changed within years. Of course it
yeah, yeah,
does. And it didn't get lower, it get higher. It got a lot higher, but it it doesn't work like that. You guys with AD, you with autism, like are if you got tested, you would be here toward me, and I'm in the higher scores. So
yeah,
I was in Mensa. I'm that good. Okay, so
yeah.
I'm that good. And Mensa is so boring, by the way. Just please don't go there. It's not fun. Got it. You just want to leave. It's not fun at all. But I I I have issues applying some memory techniques. So
Okay,
this week I lost the invoice for these glasses. And
okay,
these glasses are not $200. Those are diamonds, black diamonds, okay? So, yes, yes. So,
okay.
yeah, I don't do $200 glasses. So I needed the invoice to
Uh-huh.
have it reimbursed to me,
Right.
knowing they will probably say no, but I'm going to try it. And
Yeah.
finally, I couldn't find the invoice. And I looked out where I put my papers and couldn't find it. When suddenly I just told myself, logically, where would you put it? That simple question said to me, you kept the bag because the box of those glasses is as diamonds on them. Okay. I said,
Yeah.
in the bag. I opened the bag,
Yeah.
was there. So,
Beautiful.
I had to stop and say, logically, where
Of
would you
course.
put
Yeah, yeah.
this? Oh, over the refrigerator? No, in that drawer where my TV is with lots of recipes and some invoice, that random invoice you will never need anymore. No,
Yeah.
it took me a second to stop and say, logically, where? And
Yeah.
that was the no, kind of techniques and this and that, and rewatching your videos to try to find, because they are very expensive, because they won't, this model won't change. In 10 years, it will still be applicable. I buy classical stuff. So I needed that because I paid them, and please pay me back.
Yeah.
I have like a trip in my face. Please pay me back. So, and that's how I did,
Gotcha.
because I think
Gotcha.
my memory works totally differently than someone with ADHD, someone who has autism, and I'm the one with epilepsy. And
Yeah, I
plus
get it.
epilepsy, plus multiple head traumas, count
Yeah.
like the thousand of times I fell, so hit my
Mm,
head, plus the
mm,
medication for epilepsy. So I'm a different case than you guys, which makes me
mm,
neurodivergent like you all. Probably that's
mm.
why we get along so well. So I just that's what I say, that's how much they cost. The real cost of this is $2,700. But since I know the guy, he dropped the price to me
Yeah.
quite a bit, because we've been friends for a long time. And he always sold me my Dolce and Gabbanas that you see sometimes, the red ones. And, and
That's a whole
he,
lot of
he,
toonies and
he, gave,
loonies.
he gave me a deal, but it was still close to 2000, because
Gotcha.
those are black diamond Tarkovsky. So, yeah, you pay for that. But
What I would do,
but that's what I did.
it's beautiful as well. I mean, it illustrates a lot of things we've been speaking about today. But what I would do would be lean into the real mnemonics side of things, and like cards on the table, right? Cards on the table. I know a lot of data about epilepsy. I've never worked one on one with someone that has it, but what I have in terms of people that have a difficulty with memory methods. I've worked with a number of people that have aphantasia who can't picture anything in their heads. And it is about, and they seem analogous properties. If you can't predict when a seizure is going to happen, right, nor should you be able to, you can use your surroundings as somebody would a mnemonic memory palace, right? Invoices go in this particular spot and we build habits around it. This information is kept in this drawer. This information is kept over here, is kept over here, is kept over here. So that it's less about the technique and it's more about the habit that is connected to storing whatever information it is that's there, so that when logic is needed, you can explore the reality as opposed to a mind that might not be serving up information with you pre or post ictal activity, right? So there are these situations like I I've got a number of books in my collection, and I've never taken the time to memorize them. But if you were to ask me whatever book I needed, I would be able to tell you where it would be and if I have it, because if they're PDFs on here, they're stored in specific areas. If they're actual books, there are actual collections of genres in specific parts around my house. That's where they go. So if you can apply these kinds of properties to real life,
Yeah.
right? If memory and logic is about storing information in here, there is no stopping you doing that out here as well. No stopping you, other than the habit that is needed to develop the information around it. But I'm glad you found the invoice all the same.
I'm glad
Um,
too, because I mean, I paid it, so it's like it's a trip. But I'm
I
gonna
can
have
imagine.
you're gonna see me with these glasses for years to come.
Beautiful. But well,
That's
Yeah.
that's quality does. If my eyesight change, I'm just gonna
yeah.
change this, and that's gonna be it. And it's like they meant, like Craig said to me, "Oh, they meant that." I said, "Of
Yeah.
course."
Well, they're beautiful spectacles. Like regardless, like these are just local Vision Express things, just to allow me to see a
Yeah,
lot of the time
Pas
Mine
because
is
I.
invisible. Huh?
yeah, Pascal said the same thing to me when I told him I was buying them. He said to me, he said, I can buy the cheapest one as long as I can see. I said, we're
Yeah,
not the same.
yeah. I mean, the closest thing that I have is my Ray Bans for when I'm out recording for training. I've got one of those, the Meta AI Ray Bans, and it's a fun little bit of technology. But given the kind of person that I am, when I'm walking around wearing them, I'm like, don't move your head too quickly in case they fall off and break, and you have to pay for them again. Just move very slowly.
Get them adjusted, it costs nothing.
Oh, they will, because all of the technology is contained within the legs.
Yes.
Yeah. So and plus, like, these are the largest frames that my optician is capable of making, and they still don't fit. It's because
Ah,
well, my cranium is massive. Like, around here
yeah.
is 27 inches.
Yeah, you told us about your many inches you have.
Yeah.
What?
And
Oh, you
so
weren't there. No, it spoke about the hats and
Ah,
yeah, my
very few. So I just made a joke and you jumped into my joke like, what?
we needed Brett really to go with his with his Aussie charm. Um, right, you two, it's been wonderful to chat to you. Thanks for making
same here.
Cerebral Social 2 another festivity of fun. I hope to see you next week. But again, like I was saying to Saeed at the start, these couldn't be anything close to resembling mandatory. So don't feel like you've got to. We have them on as an open opportunity to get to meet everyone and hang
Yeah.
out and do stuff and have fun.
I like it
But
because it's more intimate and the subjects are different, like at night.
Yeah.
Honestly, to be quite honest with you and say it, and like five of us do, and it's the project of Say It, by the way, none other than Say It, to practice what you taught us. So, and sometimes it's like 3 hours the last time. And we have a lot of fun and we do practice. I do furnish examples of linguistics and some
yeah,
other pictures of couples. Just a
yeah,
picture. What do you think of them? So I have to have the backup stories, but others do the same thing too. So we do
beautiful.
practice like as we are right now, 5 days a week, I would say.
Yeah. Something like
Yeah.
that.
So it started with one course. And just to show you, Ben, I remember asking you for year two. Remember that? You looked at me with eyes like you could have grabbed me through
Yeah,
the screen.
yeah.
And I was like, well, how about year two? And I remember that look. Oh, God, I would never forget it. And you see, that's year two. From that was born that we practice with school at night with Say It. We have Brett is always there because the time makes it
Yeah, of course,
easier
of
for
course,
him because it's like in another galaxy too, it's very far.
of course
So
he is.
we have a lot of fun
Yeah.
and we
Awesome,
do practice quite a lot.
awesome.
So
I love it.
year two,
Hopefully I
year
can get
two,
to one.
year two gave that. Yeah, I think
If I had a hat, I'd tip it to you.
non, t'as pas besoin. Tu n'as pas besoin. Mais l'année 2 était nécessaire et je m'inscris déjà à l'année 3 et je prends quand même une chance pour demander un dimanche.
D'accord.
Ah,
Uh,
I'm the first to vote.
Maintenant, à bientôt.